Hey, hello, and welcome back. We were only going for a few minutes, but the draft is already underway. We got TNC versus PSG.LGD. I'm Kyle. This is BSJ. Bang! Let's bring up the draft real quick. The bands have started. There we go. There's PSG.
LGD.
Bang.
Bam.
What's your favorite, iconic call? Watching a game and just some hype shit goes down, really memorable commentary.
Are you saying about the caster?
Dota or real sports, anything.
I don't know, honestly. Maybe I think the WoW was still hilarious for me, but that's probably too cliche. Mainly because of that Beyond the Summit clip from the summit about him, what would have happened if he hadn't made the WoW call.
Yeah, I don't remember the guy's name, but I think that's why anytime I always emphasize things with a bang, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Because of this one call, Miami versus the Spurs, 2000, I want to say 12, 13 finals, and there's the iconic play where Allen ties the game, and the call is just rebound Bosch, back out to Allen. It's good. His three. It's good. Bang. Tie game. And it's just so hype.
The bang, yeah.
Yeah, and now it's I've adopted that, and I can't stop.
When I grew up,
BSJ, I can't stop
I understand
banging.
it. What are we talking about again?
I
You
don't
lost
know.
me. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm unfamiliar with whatever reference.
Oh,
you're
sports
making there.
ball? Yeah, I
it's
understand.
sports
Not
ball.
everybody's a fan.
No, I used to love watching the ESPN highlights with Boomer, I think his name was. He'd go whoop, every time somebody made a move, he'd go whoop, whoop.
Yeah.
And it was I don't know, it's sound effects make everything better. And I think that was the first time I realized it. Something I didn't think about it. I didn't have time to think about it too much. But now that my childhood was defined by Sports Center highlights.
Mine too. I think that was pretty much this is just life in America. It's just, if you're home from school, you're bored or something, just
nothing else to do.
Go watch some highlights. They're hype.
Yeah.
So we got a bunch of questions while we were on break. Of course, right after we go to break, you guys start saying things. That's how it works. The entertainment disappears. It's oh God, we need to ask some questions. I got nothing to do.
It's just like girls, the second I'm interested,
they're no longer into you.
Yep, they're gone.
TNC's turn to ban.
Thank you.
All
When
these
is the wedding?
questions suck.
Yeah.
Okay, Grant is actually asleep on the couch. We tucked him in, gave him a blanket, so he should be fine. Why have we seen fewer abyssal blades this patch?
I just feel like the item isn't the best at anything.
Sounds good.
You'd rather have a nullifier or a damage item.
Is this TNC's year? No. In and out later? No. Battle Pass level? Don't care. But I do want my own voice line. I'm 100 levels away. So if anyone wants to throw me some of that Skrilla,
Yeah.
feel free.
We are running a charity for the charity
Wait,
case.
we can't. I don't think we can bankroll ourselves on air. We can't.
Oh.
We can't ask the community to give our personal Steam accounts money. Okay.
I was just joking, but I guess if it's
we
there's
can't
official
do
rule.
that. We
Okay.
definitely can't do that.
Okay.
What would your Steam account be like? Because we want to make sure people don't send money to it.
I see what you're doing here. I see what you're doing. Okay. Yeah, make sure it does not happen, guys.
All right, that's all. So
Okay.
MDL, #MDL After Dark. You got any more for the post game?
Try
I think
harder.
this is your last game, though, right, BSJ?
Yeah, and I'm out after this game, so you gotta make it count.
Nice lot.
Yeah. And we're already into this draft. We see no more Night Stalker. They're not dealing with those vision heroes, and you said that TNC heavily relies on these types of heroes, and they
Indeed.
immediately pick the ET.
Yep, and I like that LGD is big fans of this clockwork. I think it's pretty solid in a game like this. It just kind of destroys ET's effectiveness. You make sure he can't stop, or can't stomp, rather. And I
Yeah.
like the Lion ET opener. I was just saying we should see more Lion in openers, but at the same time, I mean, it's just good, right? But clock also kills that hero. So I like the SF ban from TNC. I think more teams have let this through than I would like. No one's picked the SF clock yet, but is good. Especially against ET, I think.
Yeah, for sure. I think that ET is a hero that if you can force an awkward fight, that's not what he wants. He wants it to be that you're going on one of his teammates, and he counter-initiates with the stomp, sets up it's kind of like a miniature Naga sleep in regards to the fact that obviously doesn't hit everybody, but it's one of those that you get to choose when he wakes up and take the fight on your own terms, and they go immediately for the Lone Druid. I know you're a big fan of this hero.
I like it. I think it's a really good hero for LGD in this game, though I haven't really seen them run it because Lion ET just don't do much to him. Lone Druid with Lion is just one of my favorite combos.
So you're saying it's a deny pick partially?
I think it is in a lot of ways, but I'm not really sure. I have not seen TNC run Lone Druid successfully, like, ever.
Okay.
Have they run it at this tournament yet? No, they have not.
I would not deem them as like an iconic Lone Druid team. I feel like Lone Druid's not only a hero that the player, he's kind of like Wisp, where your entire team needs to understand what the Lone Druid's going to offer to you.
They've done it 4 times in the last 6 months, and they're 1-3. Not what I would expect from them, especially when you consider like Gyrocopter, even though there's a clock, was still in the pool.
What about Lifestealer? He's still in the pool, and I think it's a really good game for him.
I don't like him as much against Bane, but I think when you have like Lion ET and you have tons of interrupts for the
I was talking about for LGD, sorry.
For LGD, yeah, I agree.
Because it's really good against Lone Druid, right? And then a hero that naturally can run in against these ET Lion-type heroes, I just think it just makes the game easier to play for the carry hero as well as like the rest of LGD. And can they even pick it here? I feel like if the hero's good against all 3, unless you're scared of them picking it, you can hold it till 4th. But I don't know. I feel like it's a very obvious Ame hero. Does he play Lifestealer actually? I mean, not saying he can't.
I haven't seen him much, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, people kind of shied away from the Radiance as far as I've seen. Like the earliest Radiance, like if people do build it, it's usually like Armlet plus another small item and then Radiance.
It's funny because I feel like there was this guy who used to play with a lot of Lifestealers that used to say, you know, this Rush Radiance stuff is pretty garbage.
Yeah.
I don't remember that guy's name, though. He certainly isn't sitting in my chair, though.
Yeah. And then I remember this one time that this other player started doing this in all the NA pubs and actually took some decent qualifier games off of teams and then proceeded to watch, I think the team was like Complexity or something, take a game off of Wings utilizing his Lifestealer Radiance build. That was about 2 years ago.
5 seconds remaining.
We can do the research on this. But
You're really grasping for straws here. I don't know if any of this is true. You're operating under false
Are you
assumptions.
actually telling me you did not beat Wings with the Radiance Lifestealer at a LAN before they won TI? You ended up losing the series, by the way, because only the one strategy was good enough to take the series for you.
All right, well, I don't want to get
I can't possibly remember that game better than the person that played
We're here to
it.
Focus on the now.
Back
in
action.
We're not here for the past.
So Beastmaster, really good hero with the Lone Druid.
Yep. I like the Brew, though. I really like the Brew. I think that's like a nice hero against ET and Lone Druid. I think it crushes Lone Druid because you can AoE purge the Rabbit off of him and his Baron. One of the nerfs to Lone Druid was that the cooldown is now much longer versus something that was like same duration as CD.
Yeah.
So now if you get his Rabbit, like he's just screwed and runs around super slow. The bear becomes a lot easier to kite. You can put mischance on the bear. Your clap actually lasts longer on the bear because it's a unit hero for the purposes of clap.
Wow. I remember hearing Bulldog complain about that the one time I watched his stream.
I don't believe the Cyclone lasts longer, though.
Okay.
Because reasons in Dota, but yeah.
Dota mechanics, man, they always make sense, just like the English language.
And I like the gyro pick from LGD. I mean, you were thinking about what hero does Ame play? Well, that's one of his 4.
Yeah, I don't love like the Lifestealer anymore against the Beastmaster. You want a hero that can clear the summons, in my opinion, and also like kind of fight back the lane.
You also have all these methods of control. You need this. I really think you need when you're playing this sort of draft. You need your heroes to do magical and physical damage. You need, because the team fight from Gyro is all about your spells for the first 15, 20 minutes or so of the game. Yeah. And then later on, once you get to that second, third item, the flak, that level 15 talent for the extra 3 hits, that's what gives you, the sustain power that you'll obviously farm, but then you'll just deal more damage. You just do damage. You can buy a BKB. You're playing against Lion ET Lone Druid. Like, you need to have a BKB at some point.
Yeah, I agree. And I feel like, so both teams look like they need a mid left, and for me, I don't think either team's maybe LGD needs an objective taker. That's about the only thing I really see missing in either draft.
Maybe a little bit. I think you could just pick Lesh here again, honestly, and it's going to be fine. But you can go different directions. You have a Brew, a Clock, a Gyro. Like, I think you could also just go for something a little tankier.
Such as? For the simpletons out there. I already know what you're talking about.
Okay, good point. I was thinking maybe you could like Storm or something, but I think that's bad.
What
You
about
don't, you don't want
Visage?
TA. They banned Leshrac. Visage could be good, actually. I wouldn't mind a Visage here. I think Lone Druid's quite good against you. Lone Druid Beast can kind of run over a Visage, and you already have like, it could work. It could work.
I'm down. I actually think that hero's underrated. I don't think he's necessarily amazing, but
You could pick like something crazy like a Zeus here too.
damn.
10 seconds remaining.
I'm not sure whether maybe they go PL. That seems a bit awkward though. I don't think you want that.
They
I think
could
you
do
need damage.
mid-gyro. If they pick PL, they have the option to go either lane, but
I think you want spell damage.
Ember.
That works for me. That's one I should have probably guessed. A really good synergy with the gyro. Does tons of damage and scales as well. Plus, it kind of owns Lone Druid ET because they want to abuse their movement speed.
Yeah.
And you just spam Slight Chains on them and then can follow up with Remnant. They have no real way of bursting through your Flame Guard with the exception of Lion. And whenever you have that limited amount of magic damage, like you effectively just remove Lion's finger from the game.
They have a lot of long distance damage on LGD is what it feels like. Like
Yeah.
they can choose to take the fight whenever they so choose, and once Brew goes in, it's pretty like straightforward. Like I feel like their lineup, like team fights, execution in terms of also how they delegate their resources with the split pushing and grouping up, it seems pretty straightforward to me.
Just a clean draft, right? You have multiple methods of lockdown. You have BKB piercing disable. You've got plenty of reach. A lot of damage. The only thing you're really missing is the ability to pressure towers, and that's
Yeah.
one advantage TNC certainly has. In
I'm
this
expecting
game.
an Ags on the gyro in order to make up for this, because as a carry player who adjusts to every individual game to make up for the weaknesses or to emphasize the strengths of my own team, I think the Ags will help with that exact issue. Thoughts?
I think you might be right.
Okay.
Might
Can somebody
being
clip that?
the key word.
Yeah, can somebody clip that? Kyle saying you might be right.
Now select your hero.
I mean, that is high praise.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And so they go for the Razor, something I've seen a decent amount today already, just picking against these melee laners. Pretty good matchup, I'm assuming, in the lane against
It's a pretty
the Ember.
rough Razor game, though, outside of the laning phase.
Yeah, I was going to say, but a lot of the
the
Razor
purge
games,
on the shield, though, is pretty crazy.
that is true. Every Razor game today, I felt like it didn't seem like a good Razor game past, and including the OG game I just casted, and then he carried. So, I don't know. Razor's a weird hero, man.
So who you got?
I personally I'm going with TNC's draft here. I think that the smoothness of LG's draft, based on what I've seen today, I know I don't want to judge it based on one series that I saw earlier, but I thought their earlier drafts were pretty straightforward too, and based on their execution, I don't think they understood that they were straightforward. So I am going to go with TNC.
So you think LGD sucks, is what you're saying?
Today. Yes.
Wow. Clip that.
Boom. Bang.
I would agree, but TNC can't seem to win a game 2. They keep winning game 1s, and then they just lose game 2 somehow. So I think that while you're probably right, they're just going to lose anyway.
Okay, gotcha. I feel like we took a very positive approach to that decision, saying high praises about both teams, and let's check out how this game goes. I always like to see heroes that are not too common. I know Lone Druid is seen on a decent amount of teams, but I don't think these are some interesting lineups. Brewmaster, a hero that I hadn't seen in a while, that I've now seen like 3 times today, and I always just want to see some clean Dota. Not the chaotic Dota that I've seen so far today.
I think this is a big game for Chalice to prove himself. I think maybe you can kind of count on he's going to do work. Same with Ame, but I think if Chalice gets crushed, then you have a real tough time for your LGD ever really forcing team fights, at least earlier on. And I think TNC could just run you over. But
yeah, I think a lot of their tempos, like even though they have an Ember and a Gyro,
Yeah.
I think Brewmaster being a handicap in this game pretty much spells doom for them.
and consider as well, like, I'm pretty sure this Razor is just built. Like, they're picking it solely to deal with maybe in the laning phase.
Yeah, to slow down the pace of, exactly, of his snowball. So it comes down a lot to these other heroes. And I don't think there's actually much that they can do to enable maybe to have a better game in the laning phase. So I think it's best that they do it through the other cores. And at the same time, you're seeing this Beastmaster dual lane again. Not going to lie, as a carry player, this hurts my feelings.
And
Like,
once again, as
just
well, it's
watching it.
double vision heroes, right, with the
Yep.
ET and the Beast. So you give this Lone Druid Razor combo it's super easy game for them because you're very much follow up. You play around what your team provides you, and it just helps so much when you have like not only the damage amp, but just massive vision advantage. And you can see Lion actually smoked behind tower, assuming maybe he's going to bring out more regen. Unfortunately, he's not really able to pressure too much on Armel just yet, so.
Top lane. Might be getting a first blood on Sam H. Trap him with the cogs, and he's a goner. And you've said time and time again about this dual lane as we watch mid. Never mind, doesn't matter. Dual lane of the Beastmaster dual lanes, you can't trade with it. There's just no way.
Yep.
But you can kill it, and that's something that I've been noticing. A lot of teams are approaching that lane that way, and you're showing it there. And I think it's important that you get this early dominance because Beastmaster is an all, or you said feast or famine hero, I think is exactly what you worded it as, and completely agree that if, as a carry player, if this hero gets out of control, can't possibly deal with it, but if he's much lower level than you, he's about the least threatening offlaner in the game.
The issue, of course, is that they lost lane control for that.
Yep. Equilibrium.
Yep. And ET is going to get a huge spirit momentarily. They actually glyph. A nice double cogs, though, from Clockwork. ET's going to be walking around at 48 damage. No big deal. He's got 3 mangoes. 3 mangoes on both players, actually, so they don't even care that they're out of mana. In the meantime, Bane went mid, tried to hunt Courier a little bit. He's going to harass the Razor. I like this. You want to help out maybe a little bit. It's a real rough lane for him early on, but once he hits like 4 or 5, he can actually threaten the Razor, especially with the +1.
Yeah, and he's not going to kill this Courier, but this Courier has a salve on it, and he's not letting it get there. So it's kind of interesting that he's still having high impact despite the fact. Oh, he actually waited to level his passive, so he purged his shield immediately, as you mentioned. And he might actually go down on Somnus. Nope. He has that wind lace for value. That probably saved his life.
Oh, here comes X-Nova, though. Oh, if he hits him. Oh, well, nope, never mind. Dead. All right, cool beans. Maybe he didn't think he would still be there, even though he was showing in the tower behind him being there.
I always appreciated you telling it how it is.
And in the meantime, he loses a couple creeps as well. Miss a kill. Oh, well, Blaze did miss a kill. Good job, Blaze. Nice camera work.
And that is why we are not doing it.
Indeed. The thing is, though, Raven is free farming, and he's definitely playing the hero that will end up controlling tempo. This HOD item, just crazy item. I think that this is really what revolutionized this hero and made it good again.
Yeah, nobody was picking it, and then suddenly someone was like, wait, you can just go Helmet the Dominator?
Yeah. Helmet Dom into Radiance instead of a Midas. Like, you don't even need boots. You literally just get that item because both your Rabid and your Battle Cry affect the HOD creep.
Wow.
Which is quite nice.
Mechanics.
Sorry, the Rabid doesn't. The Rabid doesn't.
I was about to say, I think it's just the old.
Yeah, just the Battle Cry, but still, like, that's pretty significant.
That's a lot of damage for free.
Yeah.
And
you're also a hero that relies solely on auto attacks, and the HOD aura even is just super nice to have. You're also a low HP hero, walking around, so the health regen as well. It's the perfect item. It's literally the perfect item, and then you get the Radiance, and obviously that's your real time.
The dream. But like we said, the Brewmaster does scale pretty well against it in the mid to late stages, just because of all the points that we talked about.
Yeah, like 2 points in Feeble on Bane, even at level 3.
Top lane going on to Sam H, and he just goes down again. Ame is only level 3 though, and despite the 2-kill advantage, they're not exactly ahead in this lane. Pretty even on the CS, pretty even on the levels as well.
That's the downside. Like, you are getting kills, but like we've talked about many times in the past, it just doesn't mean too much if you're not able to zone the offlaner. As you can see, Ame, after using most of his mana to kill the Beastmaster, is now forced to actually flee the lane because it's a full health and HP Beastmaster back with an ET.
Dota 2.
Dota 2.
In mid lane, Cuckoo might be wrapping on Somnus, but he's just going to pay a little bit of price with the tower shots. Armel, they're actually pretty even mid lane here. And top lane again. Thank God I can hear the audio of the good camera work, so I know what's going on. And Sam H is just going to go down again. Tim's going to pay the price as well, most likely.
What was that? Couldn't he just ran, different direction? He kind of just walked back into the Clockwork Q and the
that
Ame
was quite
damage.
odd.
And now that might be a little excessive now. Like, that's a few too many deaths, and that double kill's worth quite a bit. And now, I think TP is on cooldown for the Beastmaster, and now
Kuga came in to say hi and
right.
join the squad. He said, you guys seem pretty cool with those deaths, and I'm going to join you.
This is that typical supports can't do much, and we're winning all our lanes thing. Well, not all our lanes, but bottom and mid are, like, crushing with or without the support's help. So they're like, all right, let's go top. But top, then they end up feeding. Now there's a free shrine. The gyrocopter, very fat, about to hit level 5.
Yeah, they got to be careful. And even though they're down 7-1, the situation is still salvageable. Chalice he just hit level 5, so working on that level 6. X-Nova getting gone on, and he will be just fine unless he gets rooted. Oh my gosh.
He got rooted.
Yep, he got rooted.
Oh, maybe's here, though.
Level 4 Ember, and he's going to follow that with the clap. He has no fear because he used it to lock him down during that root, and that's a big kill to get on that level 6
I
Lone
think
Druid.
Lion die here, too, now?
Nah, this is just a debate this entire time to bring down Somnus, who's going to go down to that last Lion right-click. And so is Lion, and then Armel, drunken hazed up. Doesn't matter how much damage you do if you miss. Has 6 stick charges, but it is not enough to give him the mana to use his clap. And that is all she wrote, folks.
Well put.
Hype. I've been told I don't hype enough, so make sure I throw that.
You got to just speak louder and use more nonsensical words.
Oh, okay.
Top lane. Once again, they go in on the ET. ET running away. Beastmaster in trouble too. They're all just dying. Like what? Now they're in melee range on this guy too. Beastmaster's gonna get away.
And this level advantage is starting to show now.
Yeah. I mean, the clock is level 5. That's the key. It's also FY. So you give FY clock like essentially a free game, and now he's really scary because the Razor last pick, it's good. It crushes the lane and everything, but the downside is he feeds to clock.
It's a Razor.
You fear to brew as well. Like
Yep.
you just kind of don't do anything to these heroes. You need to be dominating the game and ahead. But if you're just even like he is now, you feel bad. And this is really just that TNC thing. They can't win game 2.
And this Lion is in trouble, but maybe it is not him that is in trouble. Indeed, it is X-Nova who's going to go down to the last hit from Razor, who times it perfectly so that the Roshan does not steal the last hit. And mid lane again gets the root up, still has that stolen damage, but he is enfeebled.
Look at that, treads Ember Spirit first item.
Yeah.
I don't mind. I like. He's also maxing Slate chains, which I really like in this lane because it allows you to kill Razor far more effectively, and you don't really want to play Flame Guard as we've seen because he just purges that immediately. Mid though, the clock shows up, the stomp will land, but the triple remnant from maybe gets the Slate chains off. That's going to be a free kill on Razor. Now there's a sleep on the Lion. He's in a bit of trouble, but maybe does salve up. One remnant left. Has chains up in just a moment. Looks like he's going to run in and just find them for free on Cuckoo. Or will he miss them? Will he miss them? He actually remnants forwards. What a player. What a G.
Really pushing the limits of his hero there.
Push it to the limit. Name the song.
I believe, based on my knowledge, it would be called Push It to the Limit.
You don't know the band, though. So
I don't.
That does not count. Bottom, top lane, Beastmaster getting dove. Big gyrocopter ultimate. He's going to take him out. Quite low, though. In the meantime, Clock is once again finding a kill. Cuckoo goes down. That's his 4th. FY just cleaning house this game, already with 6 kills.
As you said, Clockwork definitely can have an impact in this game. It's really funny to me that they pick heroes that die to Clockwork.
Yeah, right? I mean, that just seems to be like, I've seen this so many times where teams, they get this read on what the enemy's trying to do, and then they end up just counter-picking themselves. Like, I've seen Jakiro's picked into Rubik. I've seen Earthshaker's last pick into Rubik. That was a Na'Vi game from Epicenter. Last pick 5 Earthshaker.
Wow. And I just feel like against these heroes like Clock, and another one that I've seen a lot is Kunkka, where there are heroes that either 100% die to it every time or never die to it. And they always seem to pick 3 cores that die to it. And it's really odd to me. And something I've been seeing happen a lot this tournament so far. And TNC, I mean, the fact that they're under such high threat from just a level, or a 4-position Clockwork, who's already level 6 before the 10-minute mark, that's just scary to deal with. And Ember's going quite an active build. Looks like he has the drums queued up. And they're going to have, looks like 2 drums if the Gyro chooses to go them as well, which he is. He's quite farmed on Ame against this dual aggro lane. Bounty runes coming out, and a lot of contesting going on to make sure. And meanwhile, mid lane, you know, thank God I can hear it. Clockwork level 6 rotation. And you said, Razor,
Yeah, he just gets hooked and dies. He just literally gets hooked and died, and that's all because he gets softened up a little bit from Somnus, where he just slight chains him, and it's max chains. So he's getting the last hit on the Archer, and he's chaining the Razor for some harass, and then just shows up double remnants on top of the cogs, and boom, it's dead Razor. And that's gonna happen all game once again. FY finding the Lone Druid here, no ulti though, so he's just gonna chill. There's the HOD creep up already on the Lone Druid. He's going to be rushing the Radiance now. Highest net worth in the game, but at the same time, I'm a bit concerned that I don't really know if TNC has the ability to ever take fights if they stay behind. Like, even with a Radiance, like, even if he's farmed, like, the Lone Druid just kind of feeds to Ember plus the follow-up of, like, any of the cores. Like, Clock plus a core is a kill. Any core plus Brew is going to be a kill. It's, like, super simple.
And this is not the kill they wanted with the smoke. They do get the Bane, but Gyro narrowly escaping, and the fact is, like you said, it seems a lot easier to play this game now that LGD has the advantage that they do, as well as pretty much all the levels they need except for the Bane level 6 is already online. They already have the Blink Dagger on Brew. I don't know if you pointed that out. That is a raw Blink Dagger, or naked Blink Dagger, and fights should be quite straightforward for them to take. Lone Druid, even though all their net worth is on him, he doesn't really do anything at this stage in the game with that net worth. Blink in by the Brewmaster, gets instantly hexed up, slept, and uses the ultimate a little bit late, but Lion is going to feed his body for the cause. Will they be able to escape? They have the Wind Panda that can look to catch anybody, but they choose to just go for the Helm of the Dominator creep. That is a hefty bounty if they so get it, but they are actually chasing the Earth Panda where he gets the blink off before the Spirit, and that's the end of that. Only a Lion goes down for the first Brewmaster split. Not honestly too bad for TNC.
I think you'll take it, especially under the circumstances.
Yeah.
Thing is, like, once again, like, the Gyro isn't involved, and that's what I'm looking for. Is once Ame like just starts really just ensuring he's in a part of every fight, he's gonna get this level 10 talent, 25 damage, no problemo, and he is accelerating quite rapidly. They're gonna make a smoke move. Ember, Bruno, ult, and Bane, but the grip is active. Clock is also here with hook and 20. I think you just find the supports and kill them.
They were actually ready to smoke off that. Instead, they are the ones that get smoked on, and Ember goes in with the 2-hero double remnant, full duration Fiend's Grip on to the Beastmaster. Brewmaster goes down on the other side, no ultimate on him, gets the roar off onto the Razor, who gets the shield purged, and he is going to get the remnant off last minute and actually get, he does escape for some reason. It looked like he died, but Armel does get the double kill, and TNC didn't even look ready for that, and they were in position, though.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they were just kind of camping behind tower, right?
And this is super good for them because, as I mentioned, Lone Druid's a hero that, with this network, doesn't really do anything at this stage in the game, and they're just buying time for him to farm his Radiance, and he gets the top tower in the meantime, which is exactly what he wants to be doing. He does not want to be participating at all. And like you said, though, Ame was not there for that either. Oddly enough, he is going for the Yasha. Sanjin Yasha or the Manta, possibly?
I don't think he's going to go Manta, but I think it's just casual Yasha. You probably don't want the Ags. You need a BKB first, I'm pretty sure. So just get like the slightly cheaper item.
So what applied at 10 minutes still applies at 13. Razor gets hooked and dies. Is he going? No, he's going straight BKB. I'm surprised he actually went drums. Oddly enough, I feel like Force Staff was pretty necessary this game. They get the chains onto Sam H, but he has no roar. They get the Hex with the net. And Ame is here, but I think he's just a deterrent at this stage. He actually goes down to the Necro Book, kills himself on the Ember Spirit. He actually runs and gets roared, and he's going to get slept into an ulti from the AT, and that is Ame's first kill participation in a team fight.
That was really, really weird.
And suddenly, my prediction's looking pretty good.
Yeah, the Blink Brew that just was not in the area. He's going to TP mid, though. They will look to force this fight here. Or at the very least, I think you can blow ult to defend tower. You have grip up as well. Ember Gyro spawns soon. Lion up top, 3 wards on him. He's going to place the 1.
ET's building a 4-step, which I think is really good. They need one immediately. And just going to clean up some of the summons. The Ember's going for a Maelstrom build.
A quick request also. I got up in the middle of the stream yesterday, but I would really love a blanket at the moment. It is chilly in here.
I mean, I was trying to heat you up, but I can't make up if the air conditioning's that strong. Is that? I'm guessing you're telling them to get you a blanket.
That was my hope. I think
Okay.
if there's someone out there
anyone
hear
out
me.
there that has some warmth for this man.
Yes, someone please.
And so, meanwhile, back at the game, Somnus honestly I haven't really felt the impact of this Ember Spirit. Even though we talked about that his laning stage would be a little rough, they have killed this Razor a lot, yet this Razor still is third on the net worth.
Yeah, it's a strange game, right? Like, this is just what it feels like Dota is. Hey, look, it's 16 minutes. Even though one team's up 19-9, who cares? It's a 1K gold lead. And it could go either direction based on who wins a team fight around their timing.
What do you know?
What
He
do
actually
you know?
goes for a Dragonlance, by the way, on Gyro rather than the casual Yasha.
Interesting.
Maybe Hurricane Pike later against the Static Link?
I don't mind that. I like it when you need mobility in a game like this. The Yasha provides it, but in a different way. And I think the Pike is going to be really nice when you play against like Razor and ET, actually, because you can force the stomp and just kite yourself away from heroes you just really don't deal with too well.
So the Relic is done on Lone Druid. Definitely the most important item coming up in the near future is that Radiance. Brewmaster also has that Radiance queued up, but he's nowhere near it himself. What do they do when they get this Radiance on TNC?
It's a good question. I don't know if you're strong enough to fight just yet, because the issue is none of your heroes have BKB just yet. And I think you might just die. You don't really have the initiation on anybody to actually make things happen.
And here's
Clockwork's
FY.
in.
All you, buddy.
I mean, he's killing Lion. You got him.
That is a godlike Clockwork.
Yep. That's pretty good, right?
If I recall, if you have 9 kills and 0 deaths, or 10 kills, sorry, and 1 death, that is pretty solid. I don't really know what that's like, but seems pretty good to me.
I like it.
Me too. And Ame is becoming quite tanky, honestly, and despite that 1 death, still #1 on the net worth charts. They are pushing the top lane. No Lone Druid Radiance just yet, so they most likely will not be contesting this. Armel's actually going for a Yule's, which is an odd choice to me. It does interrupt the immediate, like, hook and chains combo, but it doesn't, like, change the situation when he comes back down. That's the one problem I have with that item. He's actually going to look to TP the bear back to base, I believe, and pick up that Radiance, so they're going to have it for this bottom lane push. But as you said, they don't have any BKBs or anything like that, so if LGD has no intention to shy away despite the fact that this Radiance is up, immediately uses that Bruce Split, looks for the chase, looking to catch up on those heroes, so he throws up the Lone Druid so the rest of his team can catch up, and Bane is dead before the fight even begins. Roar up on the Clockwork. That damage from the ET Aura as well as the Splitter, and damage on the Flak actually picks off the Lion in the back. Brewmaster Split's already down. Radiance feeling the burn, and he's going to go down to that root that Raven seems to be so good at on this hero, and that's a 3-for-1, and that's a Brewmaster Split.
Yep.
So
I think that's just a really unnecessary force from LGD, and the one downside of that draft that they have, like the hook not even used by FY there, and 3 remnants on the Ember Spirit also unused, and there's just no reach when these heroes are not using their abilities. And Brew Split used just super early, as you could see, and it's just quite unfortunate, really.
I don't think Brew Split's a good teamfight ability in this game for Chase. They have to have it as like a damage soak, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's like CC, and you counter-initiate with it. You can also split in, but it would have helped a lot like if the Gyro's BKB's finished. So it just felt unnecessary. Just let the tower die. It's a tier 1 that's the Radiance timing. Like, you can just play around that. Ame is still super fat, and he's about to finish that BKB. And then you're in a position where you can kind of just run in. That level 15 is going to be nice as well, whichever talent he would choose to get. I'm personally a big fan of the 11 Rocket Barrage damage, but everyone's going to get Flak, and obviously Flak's quite good too.
And yeah, I think 11 Rocket Barrage damage is nice in the mid game, but it doesn't scale nearly as well, I think, is what the argument that most players have. But what I am seeing is the fact that this Lone Druid, I feel like these talents scale really well in this game. The BKB talents as well as the Battlecry cooldown. I'm curious to see if he chooses to go for the Battlecry cooldown at 20, just because I don't know. Lone Druid is a weird hero, but they've hit this timing, and I don't think LGD has been playing the way that they need to play with the heroes that they have. And Ember Spirit is actually going for a Battle Fury, which doesn't seem to line up with the game plan. If they have this mid-game strong timing with the the BKB on the Gyro and all these like tanky items on the Clockwork, doesn't seem much synergy here for me. And they are smoked up looking for a kill. They will find Ame, who actually BKBs before anything happens. They have no way of dealing with this unless they get the root after the roar, and he's actually just going to go down. Okay, and he gets the fear before Brewmaster splits. No buyback on the gyro, gets the split off, hook back in on the clockwork to remove Armel from the fight, but at this point, the remnants are a little bit too late. Armel will actually go down because he has no BKB of his own. Sam H also trapped in the cog, so it's actually going to be a 3-for-2 in favor of LGD. And as I speak that, the Radiance, the damage over time from Lone Druid is too much, I think, at this stage. If they're not winning the fight immediately, every fight's starting off really awkwardly for LGD.
Yep, for sure. And they keep seeming just unprepared, like right there. That's the benefit of that Beastmaster with the Razor, is that you get the BKB on gyro, but as soon as he gets roared, especially if the Link is already running, like, he's just screwed. And I felt like he might have been able to make it away, but he just hesitated for like 2-3 seconds, and all of a sudden just Ruden roared, as you said. And he goes down for sure.
Yeah, and that might be a full... No, he's just going for the Hyperstone on Lone Druid first. I thought he might have the AC because of his quick buy, but either way, like, this hero's just going to continue building the auras for his team, and they find the Bane with an Invis Lion, I believe that was. He's hexed up. The Bear's going to do enough damage. No commitment required from Raven. He's actually going to have the Battlecry Bear hitting the clockwork. The Gyro ult only clips the Lion, and he's actually low again, forced to activate his BKB at half health. Gets linked. Doesn't matter. He's going to die before he gets back to base. Raven can recall his Bear. Gets the first hit root. Man, this guy knows how to play Lone Druid. And bottom, meanwhile, gets Yulesed up by the Razor on Chalice, and he is dead. But Clockwork has the Shrine, and he's going to get away. But I think that the kills that they needed, I mean, that's 2 BKBs by Ame, 2 deaths, and that is not what they want to see. After they will be getting Roche. Who's buying all these salves? I don't know. The value, though, is there. They also have the Satyr creep, and ET dies to Somnus casually in the bottom half of the map. Something you didn't really expect to see. FY looking to possibly hook to steal this Roche, but he'd actually have it for 20 seconds. So there's no way in heck that he's able to get in there. And who do they give this to? I think Raven is the best. Yeah, Lone Druid, quite a good Aegis carrier because his Bear will stay alive while he is dead. Respawning, that is. He's actually just going to TP the Bear back to base. And the items are coming out for TNC, and LGD is not exactly progressing, I think, in the way that they need to, but they are still only up by 2K, surprisingly, after all these good fights. You there, buddy?
Yeah, I am. I'm just thinking.
I saw you in deep, pensive thought, and I'm like, I don't know if I should interrupt this because it's probably thought I wouldn't even understand.
No, I close my eyes sometimes during games to just really make sure that I'm getting the full experience.
Yeah, the ASMR experience?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I understand. The sound effects truly, they have a different impact on everybody, and it's okay. It's okay, buddy.
Yeah, and once again, game still even. Roche not an objective for quite some time, obviously, as the Aegis is currently in use thanks to the pickup from TNC. They're going to sit on the Lone Druid. The BKB picked up from Raven. Or sorry, not Raven, Armel. So they have the timing now that they're looking for. Necro 3 on the Beastmaster. It's a great time to force a fight. I think that ideally, it's really just linking the gyro, right? Link the gyro, Ember Spirit with the Battle Fury, but he still needs time to come online and be more of a threat. He really needs that second, third item. Then you're a bit more scared of him. And in the meantime, the equalizer for TNC, and while I'm still a little high on them in this game, is that they do have a much nicer scaling support duo. That ET will always be relevant, especially with the Radiance in the game. You just remove people's magic armor, and then it runs in effectively doing pure damage. And Lion, like the on-demand burst damage, tons of CC.
And Ember was last picked, but he's being picked into a hero like Lion. Like you said, at all stages of the game. I don't think he has the luxury to build Lincolns, at least for a while, and it's going to be quite difficult for him to play the game once Lion has his blink. He has 700 gold off another Invis rune, by the way, and he is stalking Somnus, who has a Remnant out, but it is not going to be there in a few seconds, and he is, in my opinion, a absolute goner.
He did.
Yeah, and that's the power of Lion. I feel like he's been finding some seriously fortunate Invis runes on the Lion this game, but nonetheless, great patience and setup from him. And that is a hook on to the ET. Gets the Force Stab away, the disengage that they need. look to turn the fight, misses the stop on all three, but this bear, completely obnoxious, will wake it up with his actual hero. And that's it for that, I believe. They're just going to look to push off this mid tower with all of these auras, virtually no commitment required, and I don't think LGD has a play while this Ember Spirit is dead. And Lion's actually just farming his blink in the top lane. And he's going to have it.
I like that move as well. You don't need a middle. You're taking the tower for free. You still have the BKB on Razor. You have the Aegis on the Lone Druid, so these heroes just aren't going to die.
It also sets up for the push top in a bit here, which looks like what they want to do next. Just going to play around their vision. They have a bunch of wards freshly placed that will help them take control of the enemy jungle, basically forcing LGD to group up as they are. They look to smoke. Ame has that late Mask of Madness, possibly building into a Butterfly later, but he actually has a Scotty queued up. I think this is a fight they have to take, but I have a hard time envisioning how they win it when their Brewmaster has 4,000 gold sitting in his inventory. Oof. And working on that Radiance with no, he basically has half of his net worth not showing. And that doesn't help when you're behind and the enemy team has an Aegis. And I don't feel like Ame is as scary as a farm gyro at this stage in the game could be. Like, they have the tools to deal with them with the Razor and the Beastmaster. I don't think they have any Force Staffs, unless I am mistaken, which they do not. Surprisingly, no way to deal with Link at 26 minutes into the game.
Pretty much. I think that this Aegis is like just a huge timing. They get the tier 2s for free, slightly growing their lead. As you said, the blink on Lion now up. They get the stun on the clock. He's got a Crimson Guard, but he's in a bit of trouble, especially if they land the stomp. There it is in the back line. It's going to miss everything. The Crimson Guard goes off as well. There's the root. Oh, wow. Huge blinking from Brew, but he's actually going to catch the fear and the root and the Hex. Holy crap, he died. Clockwork takes this Earth Splitter to the face. Bane's going to grip, but he's going to go down. Ame pumping in damage. He's got the Mask of Madness as well, the 9-man flak, doing tons of damage, but everyone survived. And once again, Chalice with a split all the way on a different continent, so that's not going to catch anybody. The chains, however, from Maybe with the talent, those are 4-second searing chains, so Lone Druid just CC'd for quite some time, but at the same time, his bear goes down, taking some damage from that. He'll have a resummon up along with the Aegis.
Yeah, he Remnant dodges the lineup bill. That's pretty sick, but nonetheless, not what LGD wants. Forced to buy back on the Brew. That Radiance is even further delayed, and no.
Is he even gonna finish this Radiance, man? Like, what's going on?
I feel like at this point, if you haven't invested in an item like Vlad's to win fights now, you might as well commit to the Radiance, but I don't know if he ever finishes it.
Would you agree Vlad's would have been, like, I mean, especially when you have carries like Gyro and Ember, right?
I don't think their late game's hurting.
Yeah, like, but it's just that they, yeah, well, not only that, but the damage amp from Vlad's, like, it's more damage for Flak and for Ember Slay. Both of these heroes do damage to everyone on the enemy team.
And the armor aura is quite good against the ET as well.
Yeah, exactly.
And they actually catch the Lion who just TPs in. Cuckoo maybe not having the map awareness that we're looking him to have, but Armel actually just BKBs off the rocket on Chalice, who's just going to be drained up, and that's going to further delay this inevitable not getting of the Radiance. And that is a Clockwork who, you know, has these tanky items, but doesn't look so tanky when it's just him. He's going to go down. LGD, I'm telling you, man, has not been looking too hot today.
We'll see.
But I'm ready for them to come back this game.
It's still game 2.
Yes,
and it is
absolutely.
still TNC.
And just going to have to see.
Wow, those are the two heroes that pull back, by the way.
Yeah.
Clock Brew.
And
I think you just keep going.
No, they don't have no Aegis.
Yeah, I'd like to see TNC forced for a tier 3 here. I don't know if you can actually defend this effectively if you're LGD. I think they could have got maybe a tier 3, but they're going to just back off. Probably look to go for bottom.
I think that's actually a little too passive here. Because they know they don't have buyback, 100%.
Yeah.
They don't have a, like, those are actually the two heroes that go in. And
yeah, exactly. Otherwise, like, you're going to get slight changed, of course, but do you really care about that?
What's the risk if you go high ground? But they decide to play it safe, farm up a little bit of items while the enemy heroes are dead. They are pushing in top again with the Lion. He's been playing by himself quite a lot this game, but I think if there's one hero to do it, probably him, but he is the main setup for kills other than the Beastmaster Roar itself. He does end up taking the 40 attack speed on the Lone Druid. Thought he might take the Battle Cry just because it grants spell immunity, pretty powerful against the heroes that LGD has pretty much nothing to deal with BKB in terms of damage. Actually goes back for the Boots of Travel on Somnus, so he knows that they're going to have to split this game up.
I think he also recognizes that he needs, like, that. He already has Daedalus and BKB queued up, and I think you need both those items to be able to actually, like, win this game.
Lion's just too scary to play against these fights. You can't possibly react to anything he's going to do. And he has the True Strike as well talent on Ember, so with this right-click build makes quite a bit of sense.
Such a good talent.
Usually people take the Spell Lamp, but they also don't build Battle Fury, so it makes a lot of sense with the crit that he will go for that route. The only true strike left in the game.
Meantime, let's see what we got here.
Double damage rune top. Not particularly amazing here on TNC to make use of it. But nonetheless, make sure it's denied up to this gyrocopter. And Ember's just pushing, maybe looking for a kill setup with the Bane, but he's just going to back off on Tim's. I like that he's stalling this push bottom, just setting up for the rest of his team to control the Roche Pit. He's definitely the best hero to do what he's doing because he can do it from such a long range with the ET Spirit. And he just stomped the creep wave, further slowing the push. Doesn't get the catapults, but that's okay. Bear was pushing top. And you can see TNC wants this Roche, but they are going to smoke to the bottom lane. Looks like Roche will spawn in about 45 seconds, but they don't know that. Ame is in front, full butterfly completed. That's why he went that Mask of Madness after the BKB. And will they find anything looking to initiate? Get the Bane caught out of position. Mischance up on the Bear, but that burn damage is quite painful. Gets the 4-second chains, followed up by the Clockwork, who doesn't feel so powerful when it's just him without the Brewmaster. Brewmaster split outside of the fight, goes on to Sam H, who still has Roar, throws the Bear up in the air, who has a double damage rune, and he probably will go down on Sam H to the Ember Spirit damage. He gets the stomp, or nope, he dodges it with the Remnant, goes back in onto the ET, who force-staffs himself away. No BKB on the Razor, gets Cog stunned, and looks like it's going pretty well for LGD, who will bring down Armel. Raven, not so scary, but he fears the Ember Spirit away, who gets fingered, but Cuckoo has thrown out all of his spells, and he's going to go down. And that is surprisingly a good fight for LGD, because TNC smoked in for that. The Brew still doesn't have his Radiance. That is actually going to be complete now. And FY, proving that his tankiness build, honestly, I felt like he soaked everything that fight. And everyone barely escaping with health on the LGD side.
What an interesting team fight.
I actually was trying to keep up with it, and I didn't really. That was weird. A lot of stuff going on. No Beastmaster Roar used. Like, on paper, I don't really see how LGD won it, but
they took that fight. Like, Razor had gold for Shivas in that fight, or almost gold for Shivas, and they're fighting without it. The Brew, like, again, still closing in on Radiance. He finally finishes it, but, like, is that the item even anymore? He's level 18. It's 33 minutes in. Like, I really like both offlaners this game doing some very questionable things, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, I've been told that as the game goes on, Radiance goes up in value. I think that's how it works, right?
Sure.
Okay. That's not how it works, guys. But he does have the Radiance complete, so he's invested in this item. We'll have the BKB coming out next, something he most certainly needs. And, I mean, this Gyro's become quite scary. He actually goes back for another, like, he goes back and buys the Mask of Madness again. Mm-hmm. And he has the 50 movement speed talent. That AoE damage is quite significant between him and the Ember Spirit, who has the Daedalus. Yep. BKB almost done, about a Mithril Hammer off.
And once again, Roche is up, so that's what the game's going to come down to. There's been some skirmishes, some team fights. Sometimes one team wins, sometimes the other. But at the end of the day, game's even. It's all going to come down to this next stage. It's weird. I see this Mask of Madness picked up a lot by these carries, but they never seem to split it. Like, Gyro naturally can be Butterfly Satanic, and he's just keeping the mask no problem.
I think you feel pressured to deal a lot of damage at the beginning of the fight with, like, the immediate follow-up to the rest of his team going in, because he will die pretty quickly if he gets, like, roared plus any amount of damage coming out from TNC. Let's see. They are looking to establish the high ground with the smoke, but TNC playing quite safe behind their tier 2 as well as hiding on the Razor. But they're just going to walk into the Roche Pit on Ame. He has the Mask of Madness for damage, but Gyro not necessarily known for his single target Roche DPS. And TNC has the ET in order to scout it out. We'll see it, forcing LGD to back off. And this is the exciting stalemate we all know and love around the Roche Pit.
Thing is, they do have enough Blink Daggers on TNC. You got a near hasted Razor, Shiva's BKB ready to rumble. Lion has a Blink. ET's got the Spirit Stomp. You can add Cav. You can always catch. You got a Beastmaster too with a Blink. Lone Druid's going to handle the bottom wave with his Bear. We'll see. Keep in mind, the Ember always has to play in and out. He does have the data list, so he's quite fat, but at the same time, like, they actually get on top of him with a CC of some kind, and he will just die. He's still running around with pretty limited armor, only 1,600 HP.
He will have the BKB complete quite shortly, though. He could just sell one of his items. He has to drop something for it, and all of them are between the treads, Aquila, and Wand. He can just sell any of them, and he'll have it. At that point, as long as he lets the rest of his team go in first, he can reliably follow it up with a BKB. It's not a reactionary BKB. It is a I go in with BKB, so you cannot hex me and kill me instantly BKB. That's quite specific. But...
oh, no. I don't know if I like it.
The BKB?
No, I like the BKB. I thought you were talking about a different item. The Lincolns. What he's doing
I
next.
do not like the Lincolns on the gyrocopter. I don't think it really changes the way you can play the game. Oh, is he?
Yeah. I think it might just be for the Link. In that sense, I'm okay with it because they have no method. Well, it's like Roar and Link, right? With the only two here spells that can be used through the BKB on Ember this game. So arguably, they're both very valuable to prevent.
I just don't love Lincolns against Lion because he can just like blink mana drain hex
same.
you almost instantly.
I agree with that. I think it's more for the coverage of BKB.
Yeah, once they run in with BKBs, but that still leaves them vulnerable to getting the fight started onto them, which I think is the way they're going to lose anyway. Last fight, like, they had no Lincolns, but the Beastmaster just got gone on by the Brewmaster, and there's nothing he can do about it, and he taken out of the fight. And I think that's how they're going to win fights, so not sure how much I love these Lincolns, but they're the ones at the LAN, and I'm the one here with you.
Yep. I still haven't seen this Radiance Brew really pay for itself yet. All it is right now is a game of waves. Just TNC trying to cut waves, maybe make things happen. The Bears bottom, and LGD's just kind of hovering around each other, holding hands, watching Ame farm.
Singing that campfire song. You think they're singing right now?
Doubtful.
Damn it. But LGD has established control of the mid lane, and this is basically waiting for one team to either make something happen with the items that they get, or looking for one team to slip up. And they're looking to create pressure on the bottom lane from LGD such that they can force someone from TNC to deal with this. But that's the beauty of the Lone Druid Bear is waves already cut, and nobody actually has to go there in order to deal with that. And they have the Radiance Bear on the Radiant side, and then they have the Ember Spirit on the Dire side. So neither team really can get reliably dragged away from this Roche pit.
Yep, I mean, is this? Yeah, it's only the second Roche, so this is not necessarily game deciding, but I feel like it's been 10 minutes, nothing's happened. It's still an even game, and it's still going to be this fight at Roche.
Yeah, neither team can do anything else.
Yep.
Than the Roche. So that's inevitably, like, no team strong enough to walk up and push a tower, which leads to this being the only objective on the map that actually matters. And both teams just, singing that campfire song that they are 100% singing and farming together, while one team pressures the opponent's safe lane and the other team pressures the other opponent's safe lane. Would you talk about this being potential dead lane scenario here?
Pretty much. But both teams have easy methods of shoving out that lane without much risk, so they just keep
that's
doing
why
so.
we've been here for the last about 5-10 minutes.
Yep. It's nice, though. I mean, yeah, okay, here you go. This is what you're looking for. You get the good lane, so TNC, they just show up top. They're going to pressure hard for this tier 3. They're going to get it, too. The Glyph already used super early, and look at that. LGD still in the mid lane.
Slow
they
to
get
react
the
to
tier 2.
this.
You're going to threaten Rax here as well. Brew's going to go in. Gets feared away. The Roar on top. Is he in trouble? I think he is. The Stomp interrupted by the Clockwork Slave on the Brewmaster as well. But he gets hexed into Finger. He goes down. He's going to be forced to buy back. Grip onto the Razor through his BKB. He's in a lot of trouble, taking tons of damage from maybe's right clicks. He gets W'd. He is going to go down. They trade the buyback on Brew for the kill on Razor. The Earthbird coming through. That doesn't do anything. In the meantime, mid lane, already Cuckoo shows up. Well played. I think Razor a little ambitious there. He died so quickly. That was unbelievable. I don't even know. I guess it was just the raw damage of the Gyrocopter Ember right clicks. Like, it's just some serious deeps. You got a Scotty coming up soon for the Gyrocopter. That's going to be cool.
I think I like that pickup a lot more than the Lincolns that he already bought. So he will go for the Lincolns. Makes the fights easier, but I don't know if it necessarily drastically changed anything, as we've already talked. Ember has the level 25 talent, which is completely irrelevant. Buyback on the Razor, looking to contest this Roche. Both teams emphasizing the importance. Forced to buyback on one of the cores for the fight on the side of LGD, while Razor buys back to stop the Roche. And now back to square one. Miss Hook
At least these teams play nice with each other. You know, lots of trading. You
Yep.
get my tier 3, I give you my carry. Oh, you want Roche? No, I'll trade you this buyback for it. Okay, nice. We won't Roche then till later. It's just a truce. Both teams just chill.
Yep, nice guys.
I do think that the game will favor LGD the longer it gets, though. At a certain point, I think this Ember Gyro just do too much damage.
I mean,
right?
Lone Druid falls off like a rock, I feel like, just in general.
But the speed of gravity is constant, though. So what would it be? How is it fast? How is it worse to fall off like a rock instead of, say, a feather?
I didn't. I wasn't there for physics. I was too busy macking on the ladies. So I don't know the answer to your question. Is basically what I'm trying to say.
I see. Well, I'll try to answer my own questions.
Okay.
Notably, how will this game ever end?
I actually don't know.
And I honestly, I'm strongly considering just like power napping for the next 15 minutes,
Okay.
just so I have the energy.
Want
to
me
come
to
back in.
poke you when something relevant happens?
Kind of. But
Okay.
at the same time, you know, we're professionals here. The
Speak for yourself.
The bird on top is getting radiance burned, but it's still alive for now, so they do see the Roche.
Find the Clockwork, who's quite tanky, and he just doesn't care. They don't have enough damage to bring him down. He's going to hook in onto the Razor with that Axe Scepter, and whole lot of nothing once again. Exciting, exhilarating stuff. He's going to get... Oh, nope, the rocket dies to the tower, but meanwhile, that is space created in order to take this Roche. Ame dealing a pretty good amount of damage on top of the Ember Spirit, who has the Blink Dagger on top of the BKB in order to commit to the fights, as we talked about earlier. I like that follow-up itemization. And ET is quite a good hero at stalling out this Roche, but it is down low. Health, they use the Bruce Split. Goes in on top of the Razor, who hasn't activated his BKB just yet. Already below half health, gets the full duration Fiend's Grip, never mind, gets stunned up. Gonna try to disengage. All the BKBs popped on both sides. Razor, no buyback after this. We already saw him use it. He's gonna go down. And so is Raven, most likely, who's cogged up by FY. Never mind, gets 4 staff, but still gonna go down because of the damage from the Radiance on the Brewmaster. Or you could say the Daedalus crit that was from the Sleight of Fist.
I think it was a little bit of both.
Yeah,
You know,
a little
just
bit of
lots
both.
of damage. Lots
Yep.
of damage is the thing.
And ET's going to go down as well while they're taking Roche.
Yeah, maybe he's like unstoppable right now. I mean, this just feels like the tell of the tape, right? It's just TNC. They had a pretty big edge, I would say, both in the way they executed in the early game and the draft, but then it just didn't seem to go anywhere, and it's just been a lot of hanging out.
Yeah,
It's like summer camp or something.
but there were a
Like,
lot of
all you do
songs
is hang
sang
out.
today.
That's true.
Yeah. And at this point, no buybacks on any of the heroes that are dead. And Ame, quite scary. They actually utilize the cheese on Brew just to continue pushing here. They actually are splitting bottom with the Beastmaster. Forced reactions, but I don't think they care.
Yep, Roar comes out, but there's only 2 heroes alive, and that was FY. Was he
That's
in the
space.
base? I think he got 4 stepped into the base, but he's going to buy back. Because why not?
Finger and Roar used, so now how do they kill these other heroes? The answer is they don't. Sometimes you have to answer your own questions. And that's a dead line. Utilizes the BKB in order to ensure that he gets that kill. Lion does have buyback, but that looks like Megas. And Chalice going in with that Radiance Aegis and the Eon Disc, so there's no way they burst him in heck. And
Like
he
to
is
pick up.
now going to back off. Should probably split to make sure he gets it off, but he does have Aegis, I guess, so maybe he's just debating. And he gets it right before the stomp locks him down, and now they're forced to back off, and they're just going to take 2 lanes of racks and a bottom shrine. Game looking pretty grim for TNC, and I'll admit that sometimes I'm wrong.
Sometimes TNC just can't win a second game.
Apparently that's a lot of the time is what you're
Yeah,
saying.
I mean, it's every time.
And why do you think that is? Is there a certain thing about teams that make it so they struggle in certain situations like this?
Well, I mean, a lot of times after you get your first one, it's really hard to be able to just go for a second right away.
I feel you.
Maybe it's because it's like immediately after, right? Perhaps if they had like a little while to just kind of prepare themselves for that next sequence, that next go around, like they could be in a better position to succeed.
I think what you're trying to say is certain people have longer reset times.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And
In
TNC,
Dota.
they prep well for these game ones, right? I feel like their draft in that game, it's like unconventional, but it's obviously their comfort, and they play it super well.
Catch their opponent off guard.
Yeah, and I just don't see them as a lone druid team. Like, their draft is good, right? But lone druid, Razor are not nearly the same playstyle as like a DK Lycan. They kind of do the same stuff, but it's just it's much more difficult to play this sort of style, I think. It's literally, I mean, I don't know what I'm saying. It's like the heroes are just, they aren't cut and dry, right? You can't just outplay people. You need to go with these item builds and hit certain timings and like maybe force hard at a certain point.
Yep.
And just didn't feel like they were comfortable with doing any of that.
And they do smoke up looking for that kind of Hail Mary play that we always see on these teams in this situation. Somehow they're only down by 6k gold, but feels like a lot more than that.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, Rax got nerfed, but I felt like with all the kills and objectives, I guess they actually fed away some heroes on LGD with the dieback on clock. But at the end of the day, don't have rapid wave clear on the side of TNC, so these two lanes of Rax will offer a lot of map control to these heroes like Ember, who has the double Daedalus. Quite scary.
Yeah, in the meantime, we're just gonna hang out.
Kick it with your boy BSJ as we slowly watch the inevitable defeat of TNC.
And is it even inevitable? Only a 4k disadvantage, BSJ.
You're right, you're right.
I do have the Aegis on Brew, though. I think he has Arcane Rune. Yeah, you're just going to make this play. He's going to break in, pop the split, try and find, I think, the ET, most importantly.
Yeah, ET is the main counter initiation from TNC, so he's just going to disrupt the fight with his Brew Split. Actually just going to hit the tower with that bonus damage, the demolish ability on that Earth Panda. And Ame's actually just going to sit in the back, not even committing. Half the damage of the health of this bear already done. Hook into the Razor, who gets force stab out, but meanwhile the Rax is going down. They have to do something on the side of TNC, or they're just going to lose their buildings. They commit to this fight. Roar onto the Gyro, linked up as well, stoking a lot of damage, and he's actually getting a Fiend's Grip off on Bane when he had no health left. Buys back on the Gyro. Armel utilizing that heart to tank through all this damage, but it is not going to be enough, I don't think, and he is going to go down inevitably. That is a buyback on Ember. This is playing to win, baby.
Hell yeah, it is.
Yep.
And I love that the fight's going as long as it is. That's why, in this case, it's fine for Chalice to just use that ult early, start zoning, because the Ember just spams that slight, and he has double Daedalus. Like, whenever he gets, like, even a bit of a crit, like, that hero has to back. He's doing so much damage. They finish up the Mega Creeps, and I do believe we might have the GG come out soon.
Not too soon, though, because this has been quite exhilarating last 20 minutes.
Oh, yeah, it was real exciting. Loved it. Loved every moment of it.
I have been at the edge of my seat.
I almost want to ask, like, obviously the Twitch chat won't see this for a few minutes, but, like, am I bored just because I've been watching so much Dota recently, or is that game just, like, not fun at a certain point, right? Like,
I feel like Lone Druid lineups are
31-41.
not fun.
But it just, like, seems to be, like, the way it was played even. Like, it just felt like a lot of posturing, a lot of just waiting, and then more waiting.
It was kind of just a stalemate for like 80% of that game. I kind of feel like both teams had timings they need to hit, so they're not going to try to do anything, and then they both kind of hit them at similar times. Or the team that didn't even have their timings hit, like you said, they had like no Shivas on Razor, and they just took the fight anyway. And then the timing that they're supposed to hit to push the advantage, they just die, and then we're back to square one. And then Roshan being the only objective on the map, and there's an ET on one side and a Clockwork on the other.
Yeah. And just spamming into the pit. Like, no one, it didn't feel like anyone, like, there were no plays made almost. It felt like LGD was trying to do things, like they defended that tower early on with the Brew Blink, and they did it again, I think, at the top tier 2 area or around Roche or something. But both times they lost because they, you know, initiated a little too hectically. And then, like, all right, we shouldn't do that again, guys. So let's just chill. And eventually you got a double Daedalus on maybe. Skylink is on the Gyro, and you're good to go.
I feel like Ember is kind of similar to Kunkka in what he offers in the late game, the way he built it that game.
I think it's better.
Yeah, I mean, it's more split push heavy, independent, as well as, I mean, it's a little bit greedier in the early game, though, not quite as strong of a laner. But obviously, like, these late game free damage heroes seem to be very popular right now. The Gyros, the Kunkkas, Ember Spirit in that game, they just... Like you said, every game seems to go to the 20-minute mark, and there's like a 1K difference, and then you play the game of Dota, and these heroes that just do a crap load of damage as the game goes on just seem quite scary. So I don't know, LGD not looking particularly clean today, but they do take the win off of TNC. And
I guess there's only like one thing to say to ask
Yeah.
you now, BSJ.
what's that?
Is just voulez-vous coucher avec moi?
C'est soir?
C'est soir.
Or however it goes.
No, I'm talking to you though. Just to celebrate Paris's victory.
I don't actually know what that saying means. I just know the
well.
song.
I see there. Okay, well.
I actually only know the song. Does that make me a bad person? Please say yes.
No, I think it's fine.
Okay. Phew. But, yeah, so that's it for me today. I have done 3 series in a row, and I know that everyone is just on the verge of tears. But that is what it boils down to. I just can't be here forever.
I know, and I'm, unfortunately for the viewers at home, I think you were probably fresher than me in that series. So I'm going to have to go grab a Monster and drink that because I think we're going to get more great games to see today. And I mean that wholeheartedly because it is actually some pretty good Dota. That was a decent series. I think both teams played cleanly, and part of why it was so perhaps anticlimactic was because, you know, both teams just played so well. Some great Dota by some great Dota 2 teams.
Couldn't agree more.
Casted by a singular great Dota 2 personality, our boy
Kyle.
Banana Slamma Jamma. So I think we're going to take a quick break while we take this while we change out the casters. But while we do that, please keep in mind, viewers, to keep it Slamma, keep it Jamma, but most of all, keep it banana.
I don't know what camera's on.